I still don't know what the hell just happened there for a good minute. I'm still baffled. Alright, so let me see if your audio is good. I want to turn your audio up a little bit for your thing. I can't hear it. Can chat here? The audio. Oh wait. Oh no, there we go. All right, go ahead, Oz.
All right, time to start again?
Yep.
All right, so let's try this again then. So, welcome everyone to Hyperdimension Neptunia U Action Unleash. I'm Ozdhaka, and we're going to go ahead and run the enemy setup for this. So, I say we've delayed this long enough. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thank you. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and have a skip button for the dialogue because you can just skip all the dialogue. We can't really do a full skip scenes, but at least we can go ahead and just hit one button and we can just have the dialogue go fast forward at like 60 FPS. So starting off, we're going to go ahead and take on the candidate article with Netgear and RAM. Now, Netgear is going to be deployed just as a way to get to a specific skip a little faster, and this is only her real contribution to this run. And while her contribution is small, it's at least there's a little bit of significance to it. Now, Ram, on the other hand, is going to be one of our primary hitters for this, and of course, we're going to do the barrier skip here. And I gotta go ahead and thank Sir Catio for that because, oh man, I hated that skip beforehand. Trying to do it with a light attack is... I wish I could say it was easy, but no, it is not. In fact, it's the hardest of the 5 skips that we're going to be doing on this run. But thankfully, thanks to Sir Catio, we can do a little bit of a delayed heavy attack just to skip the barrier. And it's going to be a bit of a theme on this run that we're going to skip a lot of barriers. Well, really just 5, but they're pretty significant skips because there's a lot of nonsense we're just going to go ahead and just not care about. So, after we do a few mech kills, we get the ability to transform and we can just go ahead and kill this dog for the mission completer. And that's pretty nice because, well, in a normal... like in a run where I have to go kill 110 enemies before doing that before the barrier clears, as opposed to the barrier being skipped immediately, you get to save about 20 seconds minimum compared to having to fight it normally. But then, due to an item collection we need to do later on, we're gonna bleed that time later because we need to go and collect sunflowery metals. And why we're going to go ahead and get those, I'll explain a little bit. For now, we're going to go ahead and take on the CPU article. And here, we're using Vert and Neptune. Vert is going to be the other member of our main core team because while Ram is the power-hitting Hyper Murder character, Vert is going to be the Hyper Speed character. And she's going to be the one getting us all over the place when we need to do things like item collection, or if we need to do things like, oh, I don't know, just a quick hit and run. That's weird. I think my B button might be a little wonky, but oh well. So there's another barrier skip that we can use with Vert. We do want to go ahead and get some kills before we get to the final this final area with the boss, because if we don't get at least 35 kills, this boss has a... well, it's not really a boss, it's just a large enemy. But this enemy has a propensity to not spawn if I don't kill a sufficient number of enemies. Mostly because it's too many enemies are hogging up the spawn point, the overall spawn count, and this boss somehow does not spawn in. But we're past the 2 articles, and now we can go ahead and get to the world map, where we get introduced to the two journalists, Dengekiko and Famitsu. Now, Dengekiko is pretty good in her own right. She's the second highest damage. She has the second highest damage potential. And if Ram wasn't so good with her attacks, Dengekiko would have been our fight of choice. As is, well, both Dengekiko and Famitsu can't quite transform yet. They need a little something to power them up to the point where they can transform and do a lot of the work that they're going to need to do while transformed. Alas, they're not going to show up in a lot of the missions. Only other than this one for Dengekiko, the next one for Famitsu, and then one mission later on in Chapter 3, where these are the only times where you get to really see the journalist in action in an any percent run. And that's kind of unfortunate for that third mission, because that third mission is harrowing. It's very, very difficult, and difficult in the sense that you are hanging by a needle on every on the first part of that mission, and it's you gotta play that mission very, very carefully. But for this mission, it's relatively simple. We have to just get a lot of kills. We need 200. And I can bail a little early with that because this EXE attack that Denki is going to throw down has some distance she can throw with it. And she can move quite a bit of distance. But I'm going to do this. And collect the item while using the transformation move, the EXE's attack that allows her to move around a bit. That allows me to just skip the detransformation animation at the end of that attack and not have to spend 2.5 seconds watching the detransformation animation. So, we're on to Famitsu, and Famitsu is very bad at combat in this initial outing. Whereas most characters in this game would be fighting out of the bots and dealing I'd say about 1,000, 1,200 damage per hit. She's dealing closer to 400. Unfortunately, that cross-fish shrimp lobster plushie that she has in the back of her isn't very good for actual combat. So I have to take a measured stance with her attacks. Probably because some of her attacks have a bit of a weird cooldown before she can dash, before she can do a dash cancel that I've been doing for a little while. And that's awkward, to say the least. At the very least, here I'm trying to see if I can get any net bulls to spawn, because net bulls can provide maybe not that too early, but we kind of need the net bulls because we want to use our SP skills to kill this boss without using the EXE, because her EXE is unbelievably bad. It has such bad damage, and unfortunately I don't have any net pulls to help me out here. And this boss wants to be a butt. And come on, get over here. Oh, thank goodness. Essentially, you don't want to try to use Famitsu unless you're forced to. And this is the only mission in the any percent where she is forced in. So, after we go ahead and finish the initial 4 quests, we get introduced to, I guess you can call this a plot. And the plot is the journalists are interviewing the goddesses and the candidates about trying to write articles about how awesome they are and how well they're doing and how much they're willing to protect game industry from the evils of whatever. And that honestly just comprises about, I don't know, 7/8 of the entire plot, as far as we are concerned, in any percent anyway. Well, there's some other stuff, but really, we don't really. This plot is just an excuse plot. We're here to speed up stuff, and we're gonna go ahead and look awesome while doing it. So, I said something about needing sunflowery metals for an item that we need to equip. We're going to need 150 of those metals, and we are going to go ahead and spend some of the time that we save by doing that skip to go ahead and farm sunflower metals here. Now, the item that we're looking for here is called the Scramble Engine, and the Scramble Engine helps us out here because normally when you're trying to normally you can't transform in battle right away. You need to get 91 kills before you get enough to transform. And I have under 37, so I don't have enough medals yet. But with the Scramble Engine, we start with with our ESE gauge completely full, and then we can just go ahead and transform immediately and do things like kill this guy real fast. And we're taking advantage of being able to transform immediately to complete a lot of things that we're not really supposed to have done yet. So, with that said, we go to the setup, go grab the metal, grab the Scramble Engine, and we're just gonna go ahead and equip it on everybody, just to simplify the muscle memory a little bit, because strictly speaking, you only need to equip it on a few characters, but it's sometimes easier to just equip it on everybody and just forget about it. So now that we've acquired the Scramble Engine, we're going to go ahead and take on this quest, because this quest starts us toward the other item that we're going to need for the 90%. And that item is going to be farmed off of these carrots. The sentient Tetris, totally not Tetris blocks. Hey, hi. Get over there. The totally not Tetris blocks that we're just going to go ahead and just blend through with Ram, because Ram, being our power hitter for this run, it essentially goes ahead and throws icicles at every enemy while transformed like this, and she just goes ahead and simplifies a lot of the combat, because those icicles fired point blank deal 11 hits, and each hit does a pretty good amount of damage. And it's better than what Rom does, because hers is like 3 to 6 hits, and they're not as good as far as damage goes. So whenever we need to do a lot of combat, Ram's our primary fighter. We just need to do a few kills. Bert's our primary combat. So now we gotta go ahead and go to one final quest that will get us our item, and this will introduce us to the irregular quests. Irregular quests are really just quests with largely different conditions. Sometimes it might be you gotta go collect items. Sometimes you gotta go farm metals. And for this one, it's a lot of Terex farming. You gotta kill, well, for the item that we're gonna go collect, we gotta go ahead and do a restart in the middle of it, because otherwise we will not have enough metals to get the item. And for this mission, the item that we're gonna go ahead and collect is the Maximizing Kit X. It's a midline between the regular version and the EX version. And the X version that we're going to be collecting strikes a good balance between the amount of damage that we're going to go ahead and get and accessibility, because the EX version is gated off by enemies that we're not going to see on any percent. So we're picking this one because the 2000 attack bonus that we're going to be getting is much more useful for speed run than losing the 3600 defense that equipping the maximizing kit X would do. And there is there's a mirrored version of that in careful kits, but if you equip both of them, you're essentially just shooting yourself in the foot in that regard. So we're just gonna go grab the maximizing kit X and turn ourselves into a glass cannon, where we are going to go ahead and have our health bar hang on by a thread while we all at the same time tear apart every single enemy that we run into, barring enemies that cheat bot being utterly invulnerable. Looking at you, whales, when you freaking attack. But yeah, we're just gonna go and continue farming out the last of the 531 kills on this map that we're gonna need for the item. And hopefully I don't end up like what happened to Ox last year, when he somehow ended up being short despite that little bit of precautionary grinding. So, how we do? 190. That's way above the mark that we need. So, back to the back to the good old muscle memory, equipping the maximizer kit X on everybody, both transformed and untransformed versions, just in case. And then we can go ahead and take on the rest of the irregular quests that will transition us from Chapter 2 to Chapter 3. This mission, some clay golems want to go and fight you, try to ambush you. One transform, they're dead. So they totally failed in that regard. This next mission is a simultaneous kill mission, but the simultaneous kills really coincide the kills within like 2 to 3 seconds. So what we're going to do is have Noir handle this mission, because Volcano missed. Let's try it again. Come on, get over here. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and just throw that into the trash. But it's the weird thing about it is that being a so-called simultaneous kill, you at least have 2 to 3 seconds of leeway before the mission detects that you didn't kill all of them, and then fails you. And now for this mission I borrowed a little something from Ox after the run from last year. Instead of using Ram, we're going to use Vert and let her do all the killing. Because it turns out you don't have to do the transformation animation if you're just going to go and just Kinestra dance them to death. And it's kind of weird because in that quest, you have to you're switching between characters to temporarily get rid of an invulnerability flag that those two that the Golem and the Huge Dog would have, and just killing them normally. Oh, super fast Tulip did me a solid and zoomed right behind me immediately. So he's a cool guy. So this mission, find the super fast Tulip and kill him. And well, he decided to show himself a little too early. This mission is, well, it's hide and seek. And it's kind of weird because you're just looking for 5 Doggo men, and yeah, they're technically in the same spots every time, but sometimes they have the weird, hey, please die, thank you. Sometimes the detection radius for them showing up is weird. So sometimes you want to practice it, you just have to get the movement right. Now this quest, oh man, this quest sucks.
Now loading.
The Metal Grind quest here is miserable, utterly miserable. Is of the missions that you're going to see in any percent, this is by far the most awful one you're going to be dealing with, because you're tasked with getting 80 medals or 80 coins for using the Japanese version, but being random drops, being dropped from enemies that you can taste very easily, there is nothing much that can affect this. The only thing you can really do with this mission is just trying to figure out how well you can kill all the enemies to keep the enemy spawns going, and to also get the medals dropping, because this mission is random. This mission is utterly random. You can be level 99 with all the good, incredible, powerful equipment, have some incredibly powerful SP skills at your disposal, and this mission would still be the same. It would still play out the same. It would still feel the same, and no amount of powering yourself up really would speed this up. It's just, you just pray. You just pick. just pray, okay? And we did good on that, because that one was only 388. Because I seen this go from 368 to 484. And obviously the 484, if you're going to the 470 kill range before you finish that mission, that's misery. Alright, where's the whale? Okay, so for this mission, you gotta use an SP skill to kill the whale, because otherwise, you might notice I'm not really doing any damage. Both regular attacks and the E at C skill both don't do any damage to the enemies in this mission.
Perhaps I shall reward myself with.
Now, you might notice we got the new quest that's opened up. We did those previous two quests first, because otherwise, when we complete this mission and this quest and the next quest, we actually lose a little bit of time due to menuing, because a couple of quests show up before those two irregular quests, and that just slows us down a bit. So for this one, it's a irregular quest, because you just kill 100 enemies, the barrier disappears, and then you can just kill this boss. Big enemy. Yay. It's not really an interesting quest, all things considered. So, that's 9 out of 10. And the final one is an item hunt. And this is what Vert is set up for. Because her heavy attack, it has moves are fast, and we actually want to go ahead and use the untransformed Vert, because transformed Vert has a bit more of a wind-up, and more importantly, doesn't move her as much forward as her untransformed version does. So we're going to go ahead and get Vert collecting the items, and hopefully not aiming the thrusts in awkward directions. But we already got 14 of 16, and we're done. So with that, that's the end of chapter 2. And in between chapter 2 and 3, we get to go ahead and get some information about this so-called final boss, the next-gen mech, who is going to go ahead and just cheese us by having an invincibility barrier beforehand. And we're going to have to go ahead and do a few more quests before we develop the method that will allow us to just bust through that barrier and kill her normally. And it's kind of strange, because I originally played this game on the Vita version like 6 years ago at this point, and it's kind of weird because it took me a good 10 to 15 minutes before I realized that this boss that we're gonna go ahead and run into is unkillable. Your regular attacks can't break that barrier. Your skills can't break that barrier. Your regular EXC can't break that barrier. What breaks that barrier is a skill that we need to go ahead and do. That we need to do 5 additional quests featuring the 4 nations plus the journalists. So here's our will boss. So it doesn't really matter who we deploy here. We just need to get him bought by the boss. And let's see, do we get the fast one? No, we got the slow one. So that wastes about a second. Oh well. But yeah, it's one of those weird RNG things that you have to deal with when you're running this. Sometimes she does the blender attack almost immediately, and then she does the blender attack where she readies her swords around her before swinging them all around. Obviously, we don't want that one. We want the other one. We will likely see the other one when we actually fight her for real. But for now, we're just going to go ahead retreat pretty badly because this boss is being cheesy and has an invincibility shield. Meh. Bleh. So, we got Force back, and now we're just going to go ahead and start figuring out a way to go ahead and beat this boss. And we're going to go ahead and go do that by taking on the hardest quest in any percent. Let me go ahead and set this up for you. This mission asks for a recommended level of 30. Our journalists are sitting at level 10. Sometimes level 9 if it's particularly unfortunate. On top of that, all the enemies here are going all the enemies in this first part are going to put the hurt on us. The Doggo men have a paralyzed attack and will otherwise just two-shot us. The Mushroom men have a slow attack that if they hit us with it, it's a one-shot. The defense trade that we made, the defense trade-off that we made is going to be felt here. And hopefully nowhere else, but this is the most obvious and most painful place to eat damage here. And that's why we have Famitsu as backup, even though she's not that great. But now that she has the Maximizer Kit X, her damage output goes from utterly terrible to just okay. But obviously we want Dengekiko for this because her damage output is so much better. And get him out of there. So we're just going to go ahead and get our kill count up to 66 because that's when the barrier ahead of us disappears. So just blend the mushrooms. Some very tough mushrooms in this mission. It's crazy. Oh. And just pray and hope and just, well, not really pray and hope. It's just grind, blend, and sooner or later they will die. Just don't get yourself killed in the process. So now we're at the final group. I'm just going to go ahead and just zap them because I don't want to go ahead and risk getting hit in the face with a mushroom. Now we got to do some more barrier skips. Just going to go ahead and phase from this Dengekiko this way, and we're through. And now we just have one more large enemy, and then, hey buddy, how you doing? Oops, sorry, I didn't aim it right, but that's all right. We got more than enough damage to just wipe this guy out. And yes, there you go. That's how you move them. Just that's something I really wanted to pull off these past few years. Being able to just do that. Just using the EXC to move Dengekiko right to the item and not have to deal with the detransformation animation. So, Now we go ahead and move on to Vert, and because these missions are split across nations plus journalists, Vert is stuck going alone in this, whether she likes it or not. So here, she's going to go ahead and get 95 kills, taking on these Koopa kitties and snow-flavored pumpkin birds, and in the process, deal damage to her outfit because this is a game that Tamsoft developed, and they were also the ones that helped make Senran Kagura a thing. So, suffice to say, a lot of the inspirations that this game has were taken from Senran Kagura. At least as far as some of the mechanics are concerned, anyway. Yeah, this is going to take a little bit because these pumpkin birds want to go ahead and spawn a little wide. Not the best, but we can deal with it. So, a little more blending, a little more savvy. And, oh, wait, got that. There you go. That's actually rather clean compared to my practice runs, at least. Now we go here, and then just EXE and watches these golems die, as well as everything else around them. And there we go. So, after we finish the second quest, we get a cutscene where they're talking about this new power that they acquired. And this cutscene doesn't play until the second quest of the five you beat, because this is to account for the possibility that you say run Vert's mission first. Now, for the Louis section, we're gonna go ahead and have Ram and Rom take care of this. Blanc, unfortunately, never really gets to do anything in this run. If this were, say, I don't know, 100% quests, then there will be quite a few where she's forced in. But otherwise, not this not this run. Sorry, Blanc. So, this mission doesn't really have any barrier skips, but it's fine because we have Ram, and Ram just kills everything. So, without further ado, we're just going to get Ram to run face forward into yet another pillar. Good job, me. And then we're just going to go ahead and kill some more of these Alrunes, more Dolums. And end it off with... Alright, please. Thank you. And then we're going to end it off with another EXE against a couple of whales. Now, whales can be jerks because if you let them attack, they have an invincibility. They have invincibility. And that invincibility lasts way too long because their attack also lasts way too long. So ideally, you don't let them attack ever. So, with that taken care of, we get to go ahead and take on Noir and Uni's quest. And their quest features the silliest skip in the game because it's so seemingly easy. Compared to a lot of the other barriers in this game, it's almost as if the barrier doesn't really exist. So, without further ado, I made the barrier suddenly exist, now it doesn't. So, yeah, it's kind of silly like that. It's just, you just dash through that barrier and you just have to aim it right. The way I do it is I just do a bit of a quarter circle motion, essentially left to up, and that gives me the right angle to phase right through that barrier. So this is not really a fight. It's just you kill more of these mechs and then you're done. And then for the final Nation Locks quest, we got Neptune and we got Nepgear again. So Nepgear is still going to go ahead and ride back up, but No. We're gonna have Neptune take on a lot of enemies in this initial part before she gets to do the same skip that we did in the CPU article again, because apparently they reuse that barrier. I'm not really surprised about that at this point. But we're just going to go ahead, blend our way through. Neptune and Neptune are actually really good about about just blendering enemies, because they can just mash the light attack button over and over again, and they can just keep on attacking just perpetually. Then again, being able to float and attack at the same time for this kind of thing while transformed, it's pretty nice. So we're going to go ahead and focus on these pie shells, because oftentimes they, like a lot of the enemies that we had to deal with in the other missions, end up being a bottleneck of sorts. Because usually they end up being the last ones to show up. Whoa, that is really fast. I have not seen that before. But yeah, same barrier, same skip. Heck, you can do it with the same character, although one is transformed, the other is untransformed, but that's not that big of a deal. So, we're going to go ahead and move all the way here. And they spawned over there. Not a big problem. Just EXE and get rid of them. So, now that all 4 of the nations, as well as the journalists, have gathered the power of friendship, they're going to go ahead, get together, and put the head on the final boss. And they're going to do it by the CPU's waking up very early, and then the clan has realized, oh crap, they moved. They woke up too early. We better catch up to them. So, we're going to go ahead and end this off with the same power duo as we always working with. It's time for Vert and Ram to tear this boss apart. So, here we go.
Now loading.
Unleashing the power of friendship! And also having the slower voice line. Okay, whatever. Now, the moment the attack finishes, you better hit that kinetic dance, because otherwise she's going to hit you. Like that! Dag it. Restart. Yeah, that has like a quarter second. That has like a quarter second of error. And apparently I failed to hit the button on that. Oh well. We're just going to have to retry and try that again. That can happen sometimes. So be careful, because this boss can use the fast melee attack and hit you out of that and, well, knock you out and force a restart. And this game's nice about being able to restart, because it means you only waste like a minute or two at most, instead of some horror show where you lose a lot of minutes. So, final EXE. So, we're almost done. Time is on when the boss disappears and the screen fades to white. And we're done.
GG. 3757.
Gosh.
That sounds really good, actually.
Too peaceful. It was so boring.
Oh, man. That was great. Even with that accidental hit in the middle of that, I'll still take it. Level up, oh yeah! Yeah. And that's that. So, the team celebrates over their victory over the boss. Nev said something about this boss being extremely difficult. It is not. And then we get to go ahead and read another set of articles where we get to see how awesome we are and how amazing we did things and how much we have protected game industry, showing off our skills, our bravery, and our power. So, I'm going to go ahead and let the credits play for this one because I end up having this penchant of just hitting the skip button on the credits, unfortunately. But we're going to let this play because that was, all in all, a pretty solid run. So, with all that said, thank you all for watching this run of Hyperdimension Neptunia U Action and Release. Oh man. I gotta say, that was actually a pretty solid setup. Getting the skip, getting the candidate article skip, pretty much first try. That was amazing. That was amazingly solid. I'm gonna have to go ahead and incorporate that. 36:57.
Yeah.
One of my runs that I was doing as a set managed to tie that barely, but it is at a certain point you have to wrestle with the RNG, and you have to get really solid with both your menuing and the skips. Getting that first right candidate skip was really solid. It is technically doing Circuit US way is a little slower than doing the original way that Ox would do, where it's light attack instead of a heavy attack. But it's so much more consistent to do it the heavy attack way. And similarly, during the simultaneous kill mission with Noir, it's technically a little bit faster with Blanc, but unfortunately the EXE skill, not the EXE, the SP skill that Blanc would have to use is so much less consistent than Volcano Dive.
Volcano Dive.
Yep. So after this, IF and Compa show up here, who are not playable in this game, sad to say. But yeah, that's Neptunia U. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.
GG Oz.
Hyperdimension Neptunia U. Action unleashed.